God has told me and my family that I'm created to be this way for a reason. I've stopped worrying about wanting to be 6'4" or wanting to do all of these things and just focusing on, okay, I am 3'4". That's just the way life is, and so I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm just going to move forward and just go after the goals that I have and do whatever I can to achieve those goals.
Hey guys, welcome to Faith Center. My name is Matt, and this is my friend Gabe, who's here from Woodinville, Washington. Welcome, Gabe.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you guys, and I've enjoyed my time here in Eureka and in Humboldt County. It's you guys have the sun here, which we don't have in Seattle, so I'm soaking it up.
How did you get into public speaking?
Yeah, when I was about 12 or 13, I had a good friend of ours from church actually had a nonprofit, and it was called Generation X, and the purpose of this nonprofit was to go to schools at kind of lower income areas and to talk about drugs and alcohol. And it was cool because after all of that, my brother would come out and he talked for maybe 20 minutes about this young man that he knew who was disabled and how they were good friends. And right at the end of his time, he would say, actually, he's my brother, and he's here. And so I would walk out, and I spoke for about 10 minutes, and we did that for maybe 2, maybe 3 years.
I want to thank you guys for letting me come out and talk to you guys. Stay positive.
Once after college, I really started going full-time and really marketing myself and putting myself out there to schools mainly and other organizations. So.
Most people struggle with insecurity and wanting to change who they are. How do you address that, or what's the cure for that, do you think?
What I like to tell, especially when I go to schools, is just to be able to look in the mirror and be okay with what you see. And to not worry about what other kids are saying about you. That's one of the biggest things that bugs me in schools, is that kids are so apt to change themselves to fit in. What is fitting in, really? I mean, you ask that question, and kids strive to do that so much, but what is it? Is it to feel loved? Is it to feel accepted? And if you can love yourself and accept yourself for who you are, that's what really matters, in my opinion. That's what I've been able to do, even in the times of isolation.
I would think that you've gone through some times of great discouragement. Could you describe that? Because you're so positive. We hear the positive side. What were some of the dark times that you had to get through?
Probably the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with, just disability or not, was when I went to the University of Washington. And I was super pumped about going there. I was going to become a history teacher. And my first year, I had made a good amount of friends and was doing well academically. And then my second year, I moved out to an apartment with a friend of mine who wasn't a Christian, and I had kind of started to maybe walk away from God a little bit, thinking, oh, I don't need him anymore. I could do this on my own. And I stopped going to my classes. I stopped doing my homework, and eventually was kicked out of college. And that was a very hard time because it had nothing to do with my disability. When I was little, I could say, oh, I can't do the dishes because I'm disabled. I can't, do certain things because I'm in a wheelchair. Or you just blame my disability on why things would happen. And this time I couldn't. My parents were always encouraging me. They always just kept telling me that God had a plan for me, and that this wasn't his plan for my life. And so they encouraged me to go to our church's youth camp. And it was a really cool experience there that I had. And the pastor was talking about just kind of forgetting your past and really focusing on your future, on what God has for you in your future. And we all got into a group and we started praying for each other. And it was just 3 random guys just turned around and started praying for me. And one of the guys started praying that I was going to speak to thousands and thousands of people. And I closed my eyes and I had a vision. And this vision was of a stadium, like a football stadium, like where the Seahawks play, and it was full of people. Every seat was full, and there was a stage on the field, and there was a person standing on the stage speaking. And that person was me. And I just believe God was telling me, Gabe, this is what I have for you. You know, ever since I've just really moved towards that goal, because I know that God's walking with me. And I've had my downtimes still. Even in my career, sometimes I feel like I'm not speaking as much as I should be. But then I go to a school or a church, and God just fills my cup up and kind of gives me another few months of purpose and to keep going. So.